Alrighty, well here's a little bit of practice, a little bit of help for your worksheet that you got to do over the holidays. I know it's a little bit daunting, there are a lot of questions, but they're pretty much very repetitive. It's a lot of the same thing, just over and over, so that you get lots of practice and everything feels comfortable. Okay, so the first side of your worksheet, you've got to make the equation for each parabola. Now some of these have your x-intercepts and some of these have your vertex. I'll give you an example of each. And then your second page wants you to basically graph everything from number 1. And again, I'll do one from vertex form and one from factored form. Alrighty, so let's try this. So when we're making these equations, we first have to figure out if it's going to be in factored form or if it's going to be in vertex form. Okay. Now, because this one is saying it has x-intercepts, that's like saying it's got roots or it's got zeros. Okay. Now, when it's in x-intercepts, your general form for that is going to be something like this, where you've got an a value that's telling you how it's opening, right, up or down. And it's basically telling you the stretch as well. And we're going to be trying to solve for a so that it's going through a certain point. Okay, so your x-intercepts, that gave us our r and our s. Okay, so I'm just going to make a little note of that here. The 3 is your r value, the 9 is your s. And then the other point it gives us, we're going to use as our x and our y. Okay, so they give us a lot of information here. So first we're going to use our y, which is 3. So 3 equals. We don't know what a is, we have to leave it as a. Our x is 6. Now when you're plugging in your roots, it always has to be opposites. So we're going to go x minus 3, so 6 minus 3. And then again, same x, 6 minus 9. Now we want to work with each bracket first because we are trying to solve for a. So 6 minus 3 gives us positive 3. 6 minus 9 gives us negative 3. Now from there, I want to multiply these two brackets. Okay, so I've got 3 equals a times negative 9. Okay, so dividing out your negative 9, I would prefer if you left these in fractions. We're going to get that 3 over negative 9 equals a, or to make that a little bit nicer, we can put negative 1 over 3. Okay, now that's kind of your first bit. We're summing everything in. We have to solve for a. Now, because it asks for the equation, we have to sub a back in. So you're going to put y equals negative 1 over 3. And then you have to include your roots again. We want to make sure that it's in factored form. It's in x-intercept form. So we're going x minus 3, and then we're going x minus 9. Okay, we got to keep x and y in there because that's how we're finding new points. But your a value and both of your roots should be in there. Okay, so that's how you're making an equation if it gives you your x-intercepts or your roots. They may be called your zeros as well. Let's look at this one that wants us to do it from vertex form. Okay, so it's very similar, except vertex, you're starting off with y equals a. Then we've got x minus h squared, oops, and then plus k. All right, so same idea where x and y is going to be a point. Your vertex is hk, and then this point is xy. Now, it's very similar to how we did our roots. Anything that goes inside the bracket other than x has to switch signs. Okay, so we're just going to start subbing things in. We've got y, which is 2. We don't know a, so leave it out. Our x was 2. We're subtracting the x from our vertex, so we're subtracting this 3, so 2 minus 3. Close your bracket and square. And then plus k, so plus the y of your vertex. All right, so to solve this, we got to be very careful. Okay, this stuff in the bracket is multiplying to a. However, a is not being squared. So usually when we're solving, we want to do backwards BEDMAS. So I'm just going to get rid of this 4 first. Okay, so 2 minus 4 is going to give me negative 2 equals a, and then I've got 2 minus 3 squared. If you want to get rid of those brackets first, you could also do that. All right, so I'm going to try that next. 2 minus 3 is giving me -1. Okay. Now we got to be careful. These are not multiplying. You have to do the -1 squared first. So we get -2 equals a, and then -1 times -1 is giving me +1. Okay, so really we're just getting that -2 is equal to a, or a equals -2. And then same thing with the last case. We still want to put it back in vertex form, so that means writing your a value. And then we're writing the stuff from the vertex that just uses h and k. So we want x minus 3 with our squared, and then +4. Okay, so it's important that we're only putting the vertex in, and that we leave x and y just like that. Okay, so anything for number 1 that says vertex, you got to plug it in this way, and then you should be set. Okay, so for anything on this first page, you're solving for a. All right, now the second page for each parabola from question 1. Well, first up, we have to see if it's in vertex form or if it's in factored form. And like I said, I'm going to do one of each for you. All right, so if it's in vertex form, let's kind of work through the one I just did. Okay, so the one from up here, 1b. Now, our axis of symmetry, okay, that's your line that's going through the x of the vertex. So essentially in this case, we're going to be graphing the line x equals 3. So it should be going right down through the middle of our graph, x equals 3. Our given point in this case was the point they told us it went through. So if we go back up, it went through 2, 2. So I want to graph the point 2, 2 as well. Which direction does it open? Well, we can find that out from A, right? This negative means it's going to open down, and because of that, it has a maximum value. Okay, now we're going to use everything to sketch it. So let me just open this back up. All right, so first up we said we want to do our axis of symmetry. Okay, so we are graphing a line that goes through 3. So something like this, if it matches up nicely, that's your axis of symmetry there. Okay, that's our axis. Now our vertex we know is at the point 3, 4. So let me see. Let's put a nice little dot or something. We want to have a dot at 3 and 4. Something like that sounds okay. Close enough. And then we know it opens down. We had also a point at 2, 2, so we'll do that as well. 2, 2 is going to be going there. And this is good. It fits with what we've got. So it fits the fact that it should be opening down. Oh boy, what's happening here? All right, let's just move this point so that it's actually at 2, 2. There we go, much better. All right, now we're just really going to connect everything. It didn't ask us to find the roots, so we just want to go from your vertex through this point and down. Same thing on your other side, and you can give me arrows at the end. Okay, and don't mind how ugly this is. It's hard to draw on the computer. But as long as you've got your axis in there and your 2 points, you're very good. Okay, so that's how we're graphing one in vertex form. I want to show you how to do one in factored form as well. Okay, so in this case it had told us the roots. Okay, and now this is just question 1a. So our roots here are going to be the opposite signs. So your roots are x equals 3 and x equals 9. So it should go through those. Now when it says solve for the axis of symmetry, we know that it's basically going right through the middle of our parabola. Now to solve for this, what we had done in the past was averaging your roots. So doing 3 plus 9 over 2. Okay, so that's giving us 12 over 2, or 6. And that makes sense. 6 is in the middle of those two. Now that doesn't quite give us a vertex. Okay, for us to solve for the vertex, we want to take this value and sub it in. So in this case, for your vertex, we're going to sub in the x value into the equation that we found. Okay, so that means we're going to go y equals, we've got negative a third, and then we're going 6 minus 3, and then 6 minus 9. Okay, we want to do each bracket separately, and then we'll multiply everything by a third. So y equals, sorry, negative a third, oops, negative 1 over 3, and then 6 minus 3 is giving us 3, 6 minus 9 is giving us negative 3, and I think overall that's going to give us positive 3. So it looks like our vertex is the point 6, 3. Okay. Now in this case, I think it is the point that they actually gave to us, now that that's not always going to happen. Okay. So for any of these ones in factored form, to find your axis of symmetry, that means averaging, and then vertex, we're subbing in that x value. All right, what direction does it open? We just need to look at the A. So it's negative, so it opens down, and therefore our vertex is a maximum. Okay. And then we'll just put everything all together. So let's start off by drawing in our roots. Make these points a little bit bigger this time. That's nice. All right, so we had a root at 3. We had a root at 9. We found that our vertex was the point 6 and 3, so something about there. And let's put in our axis of symmetry as well. So going through the line x equals 6. Way better. All right, this is looking pretty good. So we've got our nice axis of symmetry, our 2 roots, and our vertex. And then from there, you're good just to connect them. And again, try and make as smooth as a parabola as you can. Okay, and always giving me arrows at the end. Okay, so depending on what we're given in our equation, you can solve for a couple of different things. You should always be able to at least have your vertex or the axis of symmetry. That's a fairly easy one to solve for. Finding the roots from vertex form was a little bit more difficult. But all the homework is basically just this stuff, guys. Just different numbers. It's all the same, just a lot of repetition. Okay, so please do your best to try these. If you need more help, I'm more than happy to make a couple more videos if you want. But just let me know. And then the other thing is, if you go to Desmos, it's a really great site that you can check your work on. It's really easy to graph, really handy. There's a nice keyboard and it helps you out with everything there. So if you're stuck, feel free to come on to Desmos. You can even plot points. Let's say this one went through the point 2, 2. You can plot your point and check your work that way. Okay. So let me know if you have questions. Good luck and enjoy the rest of your break.